Okay. Well, first off, my name is J.R. Konuk. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a single parent. I've got 4 kids in the public school system. And before I get started with my remarks, I'd like to just point out that I received an email about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, in response to my asking what the format of this meeting was going to be. And I'd requested, along with some of the other speakers here tonight, that we have at least 2 hours or so to present objections to the various texts that have been reviewed. The email reply that I received basically just stated that I'd have about 10 minutes to present my objections and to discuss why I'm here. With the start of this meeting, Mr. Terry changed the rules of the game. I've taken a couple of hours, at least, to prepare stated or to prepare remarks that I want to make in front of this board tonight. Mr. Terry said that my comments would be limited entirely to the specific bullet points that are already as a matter of record at the school system pertaining to just specific points and going through a 900 and some page textbook, which each of these single little orange flags represents either an omission, a factual error, or other misstatement or misrepresentation. I'm not going to get sucked into a trap of trying to spend 10 minutes to go through an entire textbook and try to justify why each of these single flags is either incorrect or is an omission or is a bias or a slant or what it might be. So, with permission of Mr. Fishbane, I'd like to continue with the prepared remarks that include a discussion of why I'm here, taking my time as a single parent to advocate for better material than this garbage.
The focus has to be on the text, so you have all those tabs there. Why don't you point some things out to everybody so that they're clear?
You know, like I said, I've got 10 minutes of prepared remarks that I've taken the time to prepare in response to an email that I received that stated that I would have 10 minutes to do that. Now Mr. Terry, at the beginning of this meeting, changes the rules of the game and states that I cannot discuss why I'm here. And it's relevant to this entire process. And, you know, I've got First Amendment free speech rights. This is a public forum. I've got kids. I've got 4 kids in the school system. And the stuff, as Mr. Bracci and some of the other speakers here tonight have articulated, a lot of this stuff is biased and full of garbage. And I don't want my kids being taught this kind of stuff. And I want to have there be more disclosure with respect to the process by which these books were selected.
I don't want to see
you, input.
Sir, I don't want to see you lose your time. We'll give you that time where you've articulated that and take that so you have your full complement of time. I will just make one observation and ask you to be kind enough to continue it. If you believe that there are passages there in your terms that are full of garbage, we'll point them out. It's going to help your board members understand what is of critical concern for you as a parent. That's why you're here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and state for the record, this entire list of objections that I have in front of me here has been submitted and is in the possession of the school board. And again, it's lengthy. There is no way I can take within 10 minutes and go through the entire book and each one of these points one by one.
If you could excuse me one moment, Mr. Konuk, and Mr. Chair, Mr. Fishbane. We will have an opportunity. This is not like a workshop because we will have an opportunity today to vote on our decision related to the adoption of these textbooks. If we are going to take a vote in regards to upholding the previous vote on the textbook or not, then I'm objecting to the limitation of the individuals speaking on the specifics in their objection. I can understand with the public comment, with what was put out there, but the individuals who are objecting, this is what we're responding to with our vote. We are going to make a decision.
Ms. Donalds, look, I hear what you're saying, but you're here because people have said Textbook X, so to speak, is replete with difficulty. Let them show you. Let them do that.
I understand that, but the
How else are
process
you going to know what the real
matters.
objection is? If it's a lengthy discussion about how I don't like the process, that's not what we're here for.
But the process matters. As a board member, I can base my decision of not adopting a textbook on a flawed process if I choose. So therefore, an individual speaking here tonight can also base their case against a textbook on a flawed process. There is nothing to say that that is irrelevant to our decision-making here tonight on these textbooks. I'm going to object again, as I did earlier, especially for those who have taken the time to review, who've submitted an objection, and who were not told ahead of time that they would be limiting their comments away from the process and only on the items. I think this is not the right way to handle this at the meeting when they have had to cut down their comments to 10 minutes already, and it was not communicated ahead of time.
I'm not here to engage in a lengthy argument with you.
I don't want to have an argument. I want to do what's right by the people who are here to speak.
You made your position clear. I've tried to explain what I perceive to be the reasons why we're here. I then have to turn to the board to see how they would like to handle what you're talking about, because I am not certainly going to say what Eric O'Donnell's is articulating cannot be listened to. That is foolish, and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it to any of you, but I've tried to explain at Mr. Konuk's request what would be appropriate. He was very clear that a great deal of the book was for him, whatever term, garbage or whatever, let's take a neutral term, he felt is flawed. Well, let's find out so that you as board members who are constitutional officers of the content of texts, why that's the case. That's an important issue. That's how I would respond to you, but nevertheless, petition to the board chair, and I will certainly honor what the board decides based upon that.
Mr. Konuk, I would suggest you go on with your planned comments, and that if they go too far off topic, we'll interrupt and let you know. We'll give you a full 10 minutes. Okay?
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, well, the reason I'm here as a parent is that it concerns me a great deal to see some of the county's administrators charged with educating our kids, and some members of this board following in lockstep with what I see as pushing an agenda aimed at promoting a revisionist history, social justice issues, and other left-leaning ideologies, all designed to distort and besmirch many of the virtues our founding fathers held so dear. Simple things like free market capitalism, inalienable rights, and limited government, and instead to promote a hidden agenda to advocate for division along racial and socioeconomic lines, to advocate for more government dependency and ever more big government programs and control. I find it to be very disheartening to see our young adults and kids coming up out of public school and institutions of higher learning voting nearly 9-1 with left-leaning socialists. Clearly, they aren't being taught the right things, and something is going very wrong in the world of public education. I got involved with the issue relating to these books because I became aware that the process by which they were being selected didn't appear to be at all open nor transparent.
Mr. Konuk, I would like for you to get back on topic a little bit more. I think you're getting off into political issues.
This is my topic. This is my topic.
Well, we don't.
And it goes into the text, okay? If I had been given more time, as I had requested, I'd be more than happy to articulate and go into all these various bullet points.
I think we have a feeling for where you're coming from, and I think that you need to get into the text at this point in time. Thank you.
Well, I will do that, and I just want to point out that, again, I've made prepared remarks that I would like to continue with. They will abide by the 10-minute limit, and the clock looks like it's still ticking. But I would like to stick to my prepared remarks, that I've taken my time as a parent and as an interested party to deliver in front of this board that's faced with making a decision for textbooks that we don't even have any knowledge as to what the bid process is. It's nowhere on the website. How much are we spending? We're the taxpayers. You guys have a fiduciary duty to use the monies that you collect from us wisely. There's no reference anywhere on the website that I found to what kind of bids were made, what kind of costs are involved, who's bidding, who's negotiating. I don't see any of that.
Mr. Konuk, as the parliamentarian, I heard Mr. Terry, as the board chair, ask you to go to your text at this point. You were given a great deal of latitude to express yourself, but now is the point where he asked you to get back on topic and to address the text. I think that's appropriate. Thank you, sir.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm not going to get sucked into a trap by this board and the administrators here in trying to go through a 900-plus page text, which, by the way, I will mention, the review committees, which were primarily comprised of left-leaning Democrats, had no opportunity to review these actual textbooks at all until the very day that they were delivered. The review committees that were charged with recommending these books selected them on March 1st, the day they were delivered to the county, and prior to then, all this was viewed simply online. I'll defer, that's really the gist of it. I'm not going to get into going point by point through this entire thing. I mean, this is, we're talking 900 pages. Thank you.